party of the opposition, the largest in opposition. A statement signed by the secretary to the Presidential Elections Committee, William Yamwa. All vetted aspirants have been invited to participate in the exercise, which will determine their positions on the ballot paper for the party's presidential elections. Statement addressed to the 5 cleared candidates, that is Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, immediate past Vice President, Kennedy Ohene Japan, immediate past Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Dr. Brian Echampon, Betty Fee, Elon Musk, and also former Greek minister, as is called, Dr. Yao-Se Duchum, immediate past Education Minister, and Engineer Kwabena Japan, one-time General Secretary of the party, one-time Presidential Spokesperson of the party. Congratulated them on successfully passing their vetting process and urged their cooperation in upholding the party's democratic principles. Another chairman of the committee, Dr. Adokufo, also directed that the invitation for the participation in the balloting process should, which will determine their positions on the ballot paper for the upcoming January 31 presidential primaries, is what took center stage in that letter. We'll get into that conversation. Dr. Zato will join us, and also Dr. Jonathan Asantreotri of the UCC will join us. Dr. Zato from the University of Ghana, and then Dr. Jonathan Asantreotri from the University of Cape Coast. Now, who's going to lead the NPP? That's the conversation. It's an internal contest that has generated a lot of controversy, a lot of buzz, as they say it on social media. People are asking questions, and people are blaming people, and people are pointing accusing fingers. But one thing is clear, that the NPP needs to bring their best foot forward in order for them to be able to kick out the NDC from power. Giving the, as some has called it, a shambolic performance in the 2024 general elections, they would have to do more than enough and outdo themselves to be able to get by, and to win back the love from the Ghanaians, particularly some party members. Let's quickly run you through the profiles of the candidates. We'll begin with Engineer Kwabena Japan. Helen, what do we know?
All right, so we know that he was former General Secretary of the NPP. He was elected April 2014 and suspended the year after in 2015. In fact, you can say removed from that position.
He was not alone. He was with Sami Crab and Chairman Afoko. So Sami Crab was a vice president, vice chairman. Paul Afoko was the chairman of the party at the time, and he was general secretary at the time. All three of them were kicked out of the party. For what reason, we are not too sure about.
Until now, it's a sore spot in the party's history.
It is indeed.
Well, he also served as press secretary and presidential spokesperson to Presidents John Agyekumku for 2001 all the way through till 2006.
That's correct. One of the best presidential spokespersons, if you can say.
Now we have Kennedy Ohene Ejapon, Member of Parliament, or former Member of Parliament for Asin Central. Some will also describe him as an astute businessman, having employed many across the country. And
he touts his ability to have sponsored the party, bought pickups and all of that. He says that on a regular.
We've also got Dr. Brian Echampon, former Minister for Food and Agriculture, appointed February 2023. He's also currently Member of Parliament for Abetifi.
That's right, Abetifi Elon Musk.
Then you've got Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Vice President of Ghana from January 7, 2017 through to December 2024. You know this name.
And before that, he was Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana.
Correct.
The CD Reid nomination conversations were around him largely in 2007. So he's not a face that is not known.
That's
Many
right.
believe that he is, the foremost candidate among them because he had been at the helm of affairs before as vice president. But what do the delegates think? I'm sure that in the coming days we will know the smoothness level for everybody.
The delegates will let all of them know. And we've also got Dr. Yao Osei Educhu, Minister for Education between 2021 and 2024, then became, but prior to that was Deputy Minister for Education 2017 through till 2021.
He also served as a Member of Parliament, and he is very interested in STEM. So in his beloved constituency, he's been championing youngsters, taking them on to go and read science, and he says that some of them have become medical doctors, engineers, etc. So great. Okay.
I believe that's all the presidential
That's right.
hopefuls.
So these are the 5 gentlemen who have put themselves up. In fact, let's put on record that Engineer Dainimo at some point said that the filing fees were too expensive.
Too much.
It was not worth the trouble. And so he decided not to contest. But he contested in the presidential primaries in 2024, prior to the 2024 general elections. He was part of the people who had actually, given himself up. But he thought that, no, it's too expensive to pay that much money just to contest to become the flag bearer of a political party that he has served for a very, very long time.
Is he vying for any other position internally in the party, or I think he has just abandoned that
I don't
vision?
know. I'm not sure if he wants to serve in any other capacity. I think that his eye was on the presidency, and his only disappointment or his only disagreement was that the filing fees was too much, because when you finish paying the filing fees, you also have to pay some other money for party development, etc. And he thought that no, this is extortion of a sort. It's too much. I cannot. Well, Dr. Jonathan Asante is joining us 28 minutes at the top of the hour 10. He is a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast and a political analyst. Doc, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Johnny, and good morning to your listeners.
It's obvious that these 5 gentlemen have all been okayed by the party to go into the presidential primaries, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is really the case.
Now, in the face of the circumstances, the bottom-up approach or top-down approach that the NPP wants to do, because this is what is beginning the top-down approach. Is that a way to go for the NPP, really, considering their performance in the 2024 general elections?
Certainly not, but probably they might have done certain calculations, which of course they will not put in the public domain. You see, the over-monetization of the internal electoral processes, is something that leaves more to be desired. And having analyzed that decision of doing a top-bottom approach instead of the bottom-up, I think that must be one of the, important considerations as far as the National Executive Committee or which other National Council or which other body that is concerned took that particular decision. But that being said, trying to cure a particular mischief, you are equally going to create some kind of an elected, this is what I call a democratically elected dictator. Because once whoever wins, we know that there are some who have already thrown their weight behind some of these presidential candidates, right, or aspirants, so to speak. Now, what this means is that once any of them is elected, that particular, elected flag bearer will ensure that he gets people who aligned with him to be elected along the path of national, regional, constituency, and so on and so forth. And that in itself could also affect, parliamentarians as well, because there are some parliamentarians that have come out openly to support this,
right,
and others who have not done so. So it's just like in ancient Greece, where the people of Melos decided that they were neither going to support Athens or Sparta in the war, what we call the Peloponnesian War. But Athens said that no, remaining quiet when somebody is not aligned is as dangerous. It's more dangerous than the person who openly supports. So they had to crash that particular city. Now, if you fast track to whatever has happened today, as far as the NPP is concerned, I'm of the view that this is likely going to happen. Now, the advantage that the bottom-up approach has given is the fact that, those at the grassroots do not have the kind of wherewithal those at the top have in terms of the elite of the party and those who have been ministers and have held CEOship positions and have been, vice president. Those people don't have those kinds of resources. And so most often than not, those who decide to become presidential candidates or aspirants decide to support a certain number of people at the lower levels of elections. So in the case of the NPP, at the polling station level, at the constituency level, right, at the regional and probably at the national. So if you are able to support these levels of elections along the line, then as a presidential aspirant, you are calculating as it were in terms of the percentage that you are likely to get.
Right.
Because these people will definitely align. They will owe their allegiance to you, though it has a way of compromising democracy along the line. But you want to know exactly the stakeholder that you have as far as the process is concerned. And so now, with a top-bottom approach, what this means is that those who probably will lose out may not be interested in those who get elected. And that in itself could affect the moral base, of the party itself. Because it will have gingered the base from the bottom up to the top.
Right.
Once you have these presidential, aspirants having, to play a certain role in ensuring that there is that scrutiny.
Right.
Now, if they lose, why would they be interested in who becomes what at the lower level? They want to keep their money for something else. So these are some of the, the fallout that this particular approach is likely to. But that being the case, I think that the top-bottom approach will also make the presidential aspirant spend a lot of money. Because now, it is now or never. It is not like you are trying your luck along the process. It is now or never. So that mischief that they want to cure may not necessarily be cured.
Now, I'm sure you followed the internal finger pointing and the campaigns of all the five candidates. Technically, the other four who are contesting with Dr. Baumia, if you will be appointees or people who supported his candidacy in the 2024 general elections. Now, does that connote a certain vote of no confidence on the former vice president going into this election?
Well, it is a matter of choice. No confidence. No confidence, certainly. The other thing too is that there is the absence of the coercive force of state, right? In those periods, we're talking about the president in power, the vice president in power. Now you don't have that power, so there is no coercive, force from the state. So it's like now people will want to support the candidate that they believe, will be able to prosecute an agenda that will inure to their benefit. And it is a matter of democracy as well. It's a matter of choice as well. But obviously, like somebody like Dr. Palgrave, right? I mean,
yes.
Yes. suddenly turning around, against the Bawumia, rebuffing the kinds of things that he said and so on and so forth. Definitely you have Mr. Gabi not in support of the former vice president and so on and so forth. You have the former spokesperson for education, now Kukwati. If your boss is
Educhum, that's right.
Interestingly, you turn around supporting Kennedy Japan. Well, those are interesting choices and decisions on the part of these personalities that I have, mentioned. I don't remember Stika or Dr. Amwa openly supporting or opposing anybody before the 2024 elections.
Right.
But this time around, he's openly supporting Honorable Kennedy Japan. And so on and so forth. And I've also noticed that the spokesperson for Dr. Duchum, a very brilliant guy, I don't know where he belongs, but I think that the guy is really good, at what he does. That being said, Mr. Kobene Japan probably will be in the periphery because probably did not listen to some of us, our advice.
He was in the camp of Dr. Bawumia, actually more like a right-hand man in the 2024 election campaign, and you could see him in most of the videos tagging along with Dr. Bawumia. Now he wants to contest the man that he, so strongly supported. Surprised?
So the same can be said of Dr. Brian Champon. Of course, you can also say the same. Maybe he was doing his official duty, the former education minister, Dr. Duchum. But in the case of Kobene Japan, Mr. Kobene Japan, it's quite interesting because you could see that when he was launching his campaign, for the internal presidential primaries for the 2024 election, he did a very grand presentation in which he justified why Dr. Bawumia should not be elected. He justified why he should be chosen as a presidential candidate. Because those who have been part of the destruction cannot be part of the rebuilding. That is exactly what his presentation was about.
That's right.
And so they will say that, it is politics, it was an internal contest, and I needed to project myself, and that is what I did. Unfortunately, they seem to forget that the opposition will use these things against your presidential candidate. And that's exactly what happened. And so maybe he will say that it is politics, and that's the more reason why he will still go and support Dr. Bawumia when he loses. Definitely, that is what is likely going to happen.
I see.
But they just have to be very careful the kinds of things that they say along the line, because the opposition will use that against them.
I'll have you hold on, Doc, and let me bring in Dr. Zato from the University of Ghana. He's also a political analyst. Doc, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Oh, no. Hello, Dr. Zato. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Your line was misbehaving at some point. Now, now the New Patriotic Party has cleared all the 5 gentlemen who have expressed their interest to contest the party's flag-bearership going into the 2028 elections. What kind of a man does the NPP need at this time in terms of leadership, given the results of the 2024 elections?
Thank you very much, and good morning to our listeners. The New Patriotic Party, and you are going into this, you want to ask yourself some very important question. Anybody you are meeting, you are going to meet an incumbent government in the next election. Whatever candidate you are meeting, you are going to meet a candidate who is in power. And so you then ask yourself, who can you bring to match that incumbency? Who can you bring that can say that his or her expertise matches whatever the incumbent is bringing? If the NDC brings the current vice president, you must ask yourself, do you have anybody on your ticket or your list that can match that person's expertise? So now, the NPP needs somebody who is well marketed. The NPP needs somebody who is well experienced. The NPP needs somebody who can say, I've been there and I've done that before. The NPP needs somebody who can show that he has a mastery of the policies and the ideas. And the NPP needs somebody who can, from day one, not need to sell himself, not need to market himself, somebody who can say from the one that I am known, I am marketed, I begin to say that. And so you need that person because you are going to meet somebody who will say, I'm in power or I'm in government and I've got to do this. And so the NPP needs a candidate that doesn't need introduction, and that candidate they need is a candidate that is strong, that can demonstrate that. So if you ask me who do they need a candidate like a former vice president.
So you would prefer to have Dr. Bawumia lead the NPP going into the 2028 elections. Is that safe to say?
It's not my preference. It's the fact that when you look at the evidence of the ground, I've made this point. Ghana politics, sometimes you can see how the politics of Ghana is structured. That is why today you can say the most experienced politician in Ghana is His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana. He is the most experienced. The President of Ghana too represents a link between the old politics, that is those who are, you can say, champion resistance, RC, PNDC, constitutional transition. Those politicians, the men and women who define that area. And the man is a large bunch of them. He represents them and now. If somebody wants to for that issue, the most experienced, the most marketable politician left in the country now is essentially Dr. Bawumia. He has demonstrated that he's been there, he's done all of them. He's the most marketable, the most experienced, the most knowledgeable. He will see you and those policies that he can say, I did this, I did A, I did B. He will see you and show the humility and the knowledge to lead the party. So, yes, that is what I mean.
Now, you tell me, you've had the mudslinging that's gone on internally from each of the camps. Everybody is trying to get the attention of the electorate, but they are also throwing shade at each other. 10 cents of so and so, 12 cents of so and so, 20 cents of so and so. People apologizing, people saying we made mistakes, etc. Do you think that a party that wants to heal, especially from the 2024 election defeat, needs this at this time, given the fact that it could be used by their opponents against them in any serious election?
Thank you very much. If you look at political parties, the nature of political parties, they are very vulnerable whenever they are engaged in internal trouble. That is true. In fact, the history of this country shows us that political parties had broken up during these primaries. You can talk of the case of the Reform Party of the NDC led by Gilitano. You can talk about the NDC again, the party that were led by Obeda Samoa. You can talk about NDC again, the party that broke away led by Nana Kunoda Jimaroli. All this happened during internal primaries. But they did not prevent the NDC from winning the 2028 elections, and subsequently they did not prevent the NDC from winning the 2012 elections. They did not. A similar thing has happened. The NPP is going through a very difficult stage. If we go back, internal primaries led to the NPP sacking its national chairman, its general secretary, the national vice chairman, a disgruntled candidate who lost woefully in an election. The NDC left the NPP to go and form its own movement. No, these things did not stop the NPP from winning the 2016 election and the 2020 elections. And you can also say, just like the NDC, they also contributed to the NPP losing the 2024 or the 2020 elections. My point is that these things have always happened and they will keep happening because individuals and political parties are in parties to maximize their rationality. And sometimes you don't really want to live.
I see.
It's normal. And so that's what I'm saying. Look, there's something that you're mentioning. One of the smartest decisions the NPP made for themselves was to bring their primary very close. Because they understand that there was going to be mudslinging. They understand that this is going to happen. But what they try to do is that they are trying to give themselves at least 3 years to do anything. They are trying to give themselves a new space after the primary to be able to come together. That is why you see that people have told the NDC to stop the internal rancor. That's why there are people saying that the chairman of the NDC should stop the transfer, that the chief of staff should stop what he's doing, because the NDC understands this similar thing. So for me, those political parties, for the first time in Ghana, the playing field in both parties seems to be a little level. The NDC is having for the first time one of the most level playing field to select somebody to replace the President Mahama. The NPP is having a relatively level playing field. And we've not seen this in a very long time in most political parties. So all I can tell you is that prepare for more mudslinging, prepare for more vicious attacks, will happen. But the political party that is able to keep their cool, keep their calm, and endure all the things is the one that will emerge victorious. And as I've told you, the political parties have done that, and they've all emerged victorious.
The Professor Michael Quay report as to why the NPP lost the 2024 elections is not known to many people. In fact, all the other 4 candidates who are going head-to-head with Dr. Bawumia in this primary say, we have not seen the report. So if we have not seen the report that is supposed to help us heal and bounce back and rebrand, how do we go into a contest this early? And that also goes to some delegates who will be casting their votes and making a decision on these 5 candidates and so on and so forth. Don't you think that the party, at least on a need-to-know basis for the National Council, should have been giving copies of the Professor Michael Quay report so everybody is on the same wavelength?
Thank you. I don't advise political parties on what to do in their internal issues. But if a political party thinks that there is information we have and that information is proprietary, and that if that information is released, it will do us more harm than good, then they will advise themselves to release it. Remember, the NDC went through a similar thing. The constituency report was never made public because the corporate NDC saw that if we make this public, individuals are going to be selfish, individuals are going to use it for their own selfish motives, and it will not help the corporate brand of the NDC. And they have been proven right. They have been proven right because they took that report and they've now won power. The corporate NPP probably also think that, look, yes, we have done our own thing, we've done our own self-introspection, and we now believe that the interest of the corporate NPP will not be better protected if this report is made public. But that is why they also kept it indoors. Now, secondly, it is possible that some of the suggestions in that report were those that the NPP has started implementing. They went to Congress to expand the voter base. They went to Congress to do that. So you can read that the only thing that the best way to handle that report is to implement the suggestions of that report that will enable the good of the party. And you want to see that some of the reforms, including going to Congress, I won't be surprised that some of them are contained in that report. And that is what they are doing. But then the malicious ones, the things that they believe that if it falls not only in the hands of competitors, but also in the hands of their political opponents, will be used against the corporate body of the NPP. Of course, they are not going to make it public. And that is understood. So I want to believe that based on that, the party is doing that. That the right people, the national executive, the national executive, who are supposed to know, they are working with that.
I see. Now, let me bring Dr. Santiotri. Doc, so one of the persons who had earlier indicated his interest in this contest was Engineer Dynamo. He pulled out of it because he thought the monetization or the commodification of this whole contest was unthinkable, if you will. These 5 did not breathe a word about it, and they have satisfied the prerequisites or requirements, which is why they have been cleared. But is that the way to go for political parties, to set a certain high amount, and if you cannot afford it, then maybe even though you are qualified and most experienced, you may not be in the race because you don't have deep pockets? Is that the way to go?
Well, I think that this particular issue, you may have to look at it from 2 or more perspectives. The point is that how much is too little for a filing fee and how much is too much for a filing fee? I'm of the view that to become a presidential candidate of a party as big as the NPP, I mean, you should be very much resourceful. It shouldn't be the case that you single-handedly will have to raise that kind of money to file for that particular position. Obviously, those who believe in your vision and mission will have to buy into that and help support in the filing process. That being said, I think it is just too mind-boggling. It is still on the high side. And so that in itself will prevent, other well-qualified people, as you said, who do not have those resources to be able to do so. But the other counterpart of this particular argument is the fact that, to be a presidential candidate and ask for the entirety of Ghanaians to vote for you on the ticket of the NPP, you must have the wherewithal. to be able to do so. You must be very resourceful and networked at the same time.
I see. Dr. Zato, what do you think? Hello, Dr. Zato?
Yes.
On the same question, what do you think? Commodification or monetization of political positioning? What do you think? Your line is cracking up again. You will want to reposition. Hello? Hello, Dr. Zato? Hello, Dr. Zato? Hello, Dr. Zato? We'll have to raise Dr. Zato back on the line so that we can have that conversation. But Dr. Santiotri, let me put this now to you. So the aftermath.
Sorry, John. Earlier on, you asked Dr. Zato about who was best qualified.
That's right. You want to take a bite on that?
Yes, because he obviously is an advocate of Dr. Bawumia. He's already done so on other media. But I'm of the view that, yes, Dr. Bawumia may be the leading candidate because in their own wisdom, he's more experienced. 8 years in opposition, 8 years in government, one as what's it called? A deputy flag bearer, so to speak. Right. The other one as a vice president.
That's right.
So obviously, at the highest level, he's had more experience. But what did the experience lead to? Obviously, it led to the collapse of the structures of the party. It led to a monumental loss of the party. In the 2024 election, that was not contested by the sitting president, but by the vice president. So that in itself is equally important in the argument for the leadership of the party. The other side, I'm of the view that the only reason why Dr. Bawumia could be chosen as the leader of the party is equally based upon two things or two factors that should come from the NDC, because these are the two main parties that have been contesting. And those two things are the economy that the NDC is running under President Mahama, and then the transition. The economy as they are running, as much as it holds now, and it is relatively better than the previous regime, nobody will vote for Dr. Bawumia to become the next president. Though he may have been a certain vice president then, and may have been the most or the more experienced with respect to the candidates that are contesting him today.
Right.
And then the second, which is a transition, that is the internal bickering, possibly, that could rear its ugly head within the NDC if you don't handle that well. That transition from Mr. Mahama, His Excellency, to the next presidential candidate. If you don't handle it well, they will not be in a different position as the NPP is today. The rest are tangentials, of course. The oral, the galamsey, those things. These are issues of governance. Of course, right. They may be able to nip them in the bud as they go along. But in effect, these are the two. So if the two are done properly, Dr. Bawumia's election will be inconsequential. But if they should change path and select a new person who is not much tainted, who doesn't have that much baggage like Dr. Bawumia, then the NDC will find it a little edgy. They will be found in a difficulty, as it were, as to how to handle such a new person. In the same vein, once the things are done properly along the line of the NDC, whoever they elect, they have the capacity to campaign and market that particular person, right? So, I mean, it makes Dr. Bawumia's election, though an appropriate but a fair accomplishment if the NDC should get these two acts together. Yeah.
I see.
So you can ask your other question.
Well, my other question was to get into some other realms, but we have only 2 minutes, so we'll have to end it here and maybe continue the conversation some other time. But we are very grateful that you could speak to us this morning.
You're welcome, John.
That's Dr. Jonathan Asante-Ottring. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, also a political analyst. Helen, are you ready?
I'm ready. So today is when the balloting happens at the headquarters. That's where you choose who's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's right.
I don't expect it to be too eventful, or do you think it's going to be a hot one?
Well, it may or may not. I'm looking at the distribution list on the official letter that was written on October 7, inviting them for the balloting today, and in no particular order of precedence. Engineer Kwabena Japan is first. Honorable Kennedy Ohene Japan is next, and then Honorable Dr. Brian Champon is next. Is that number 3? Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is number 4, and then Honorable Dr. Yaduchum is number 5. So this was how the party decided to arrange them.
Is it in order of when they picked forms?
I'm not too sure about that. But this is how the party put them together.
Okay.
So we be the who. That's the question to ask. Let's do some birthdays before we go.
Happy birthday.